If you're one of the millions of people who suffer from high blood pressure, then you need to watch this video. I'm going to show you the top 5 foods that are causing your blood pressure to spike and what you can replace them with. Hi, my name is Matthew, and if you're like most people, you probably don't even know that some of your favorite foods are actually causing your blood pressure to rise. In this video, I'm going to list the top 5 offenders and give you some healthier alternatives so that you can get your blood pressure under control and start feeling better fast. When there is more fluid than space in your arteries, your blood pressure rises. That's when your kidneys dilate and extra liquid is let out of the arteries into your urine. So, at least you should if this isn't the case, but if it isn't, you could have high blood pressure. This is a reading above 140/90 millimeters of mercury. In today's video, we look at the 5 worst foods that cause elevated blood pressure or hypertension, which can lead to heart attack, stroke, and kidney disease. We begin with the number 1 heart-healthy oil that is in fact destroying your health. Number 5, vegetable oils. Prolonged consumption of vegetable oils trigger chemicals that cause inflammation in your body. Increased amounts of polyunsaturated fats in the diet have been linked to an increased risk of heart disease, including irregular heartbeat and abnormal heart rhythms. Polyunsaturated fats are unstable, oxidizing readily when exposed to heat or light, causing them to become rancid. This can cause hardening of the arteries, atherosclerosis, high blood pressure. They're also high in inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids and low in anti-inflammatory omega-3 fats, which isn't good for you, through its high amounts of linoleic acid. An omega-6 increased blood pressure according to a 2019 study published in the Open Heart Journal. In the same year, rats who ate palm and soybean oils had significantly higher blood pressure levels than those fed sunflower oil. If you consume processed meals, ready-made baked products, fast food, fried foods, frozen dishes, or margarine, it's probably because vegetable oils were used to cook them. It's also too dangerous to consume hydrogenated oils, which are prevalent in processed foods. They're also harmful due to their high acidity, especially the partially hydrogenated versions or vegetable shortening, which is often known as trans fats. The double negative effect of trans fatty acids is well known. They increase the levels of bad cholesterol and lower levels of the good cholesterol. They also increase inflammatory response and cause leaky gut to replace vegetable oils. Extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, macadamia oil, sesame oil, and coconut oil are all great ways to cook with unrefined oils. Raw unsalted nuts and seeds are high in healthful polyunsaturated fats. The lack of processing of a polyunsaturated fat is rarely inflammatory. After that, salt or sodium is the number because salt was associated with high blood pressure. It was removed from the food supply. What does this have to do with salt? Salt may cause the body to retain water. Blood volume increases when this happens, and some people develop elevated blood pressure because of it. Salt comprises sodium and chloride, but sodium alone can be detrimental. Although the body requires a modest quantity of salt, most people in industrialized nations consume too much. Only 10 to 15% of total dietary sodium comes from adding it to meals cooked at home, according to one study of worldwide salt consumption. The other 75 to 80% of salt consumed by North Americans and Europeans is provided by processed food. This shouldn't come as a surprise. Highly processed meals aren't only high in salt. They're also jam-packed with high fructose corn syrup, chemical preservatives, starchy fillers, and other unsavory ingredients that contribute to poor health. So it's tough to blame the sodium in these processed foods for causing high blood pressure alone. In fact, the link between sodium and high blood pressure is uncertain, because many of the scientific studies on the effects of salt on hypertension have been inconclusive. A 2011 meta-analysis of 7 studies involving over 6,000 people found that there is no firm evidence that cutting salt intake reduces the risk for heart attacks, strokes, or death. Some studies have even found low-salt diets lead to a slight increase in health problems. A low-salt diet has been linked to a variety of health problems, including cancer. There is now a significant amount of research questioning the long-term advantages of avoiding salt. The only time when too much salt can cause hypertension is when there is an imbalance between the 2 elements in the diet. Sodium and potassium balance each other out. Too much salt lowers potassium, and too much potassium depletes salt. So the most crucial consideration is to increase potassium intake. And it's not that difficult. Add a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits to your diet and you'll have plenty more potassium. So consider no longer about sodium content or meals, instead eat organic, unprocessed foods. Potassium is found in many fruits and vegetables. It helps the body rid itself of extra salt and reduce blood pressure. So, eat more potassium-rich whole foods if you have high blood pressure. Reduce the amount of salt used in meals that include sodium and avoid refined sugar and grains as much as possible. Also, stay away from any processed food. Excess sodium is found in processed foods like G-singles, frozen meals, and pizza, French fries, deli meats, condiments like ketchup and barbecue sauce, pickles. Canned food items not only include an excessive amount of salt, but also contain the chemical BPA, which has been discovered to raise blood pressure. The real reason for high blood pressure, according to this white crystal, is refined carbohydrates. Number 3 is sugar and refined carbs. It's well recognized that a diet high in refined carbohydrates and sugar raises the risk of obesity, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, stroke, and heart disease. Starchy foods like white bread, pasta, pizza dough, past. Refined carbohydrates, such as corn, wheat, and soy, are refined to remove nutrients. Excesses of refined carbohydrates promote water retention in the body, which enhances blood pressure. According to a 2014 study published in an open heart journal, refined sugar, particularly fructose, may be a bigger risk for high blood pressure and heart disease than previously thought. According to a study published in the Journal of Hypertension, individuals who ate processed meals containing high fructose corn syrup HFCS for 2 weeks had higher blood pressure. Fructose and HFCs are sweeteners present in 80 to 90% of all prepared meals, drinks, and other packaged foods like biscuits and salad dressings. Fructose blocks nitric oxide in blood vessels and raises blood pressure. When the body produces too much insulin and leptin in response to a high-carb diet as a result of inadequate insulin production, it loses its flexibility. It can raise blood pressure because it causes the kidneys to lose more water and salt. Cells become resistant to insulin, which is a step towards developing type 2 diabetes. Magnesium cannot be stored in the body as a result of this. When there aren't enough magnesium blood vessels to fully relax, excess magnesium leaves the body through urination, raising blood pressure. Advanced glycation end products are produced directly as a consequence of sugar exposure. Diabetes-related issues such as heart disease and strokes can be induced by them. Soy, corn, and wheat must also be avoided to reduce blood pressure. Refined carbohydrates in particular elicit an inflammatory reaction that contributes to heart disease. Avoiding these foods can also help people lose weight, control their blood sugar levels, lower cholesterol levels, decrease the risk of diabetes and aid digestion. This drink, which contains alcohol, can raise your blood pressure and harm your brain. There's a strong relationship between drinking alcohol and having high blood pressure, according to several studies. According to a meta-analysis of 15 controlled scientific trials, decreasing alcohol consumption lowers blood pressure in a dose-responsive manner. The more you drink, the higher your blood pressure will be. The opposite is true as well. The less alcohol consumed, the lower the blood pressure. Another study found that when individuals reduced or stopped drinking alcohol, their blood pressure decreased. However, when they resumed consuming the same amount of booze as before, their blood pressure rose back to where it had been. If you have high blood pressure, and do not plan to quit drinking, limit yourself to 1 drink a day, whether it's wine, beer, whiskey, or a mixed drink. Next, if you love char-broiled burgers and grilled meats, do this one thing to protect your health. Number 1 over grilled meat. New research suggests that eating meat cooked at high temperatures can cause an inflammatory response in the body, which raises blood pressure. In 2018, researchers released a 16-year study on the effects of red meat and fish cooking. The research found that high-temperature cooking of meat and fish, such as over an open flame, raises the risk of hypertension. People who grilled their food were 17% more likely to get hypertension than those who broiled or roasted their food. The amount of HA in the diet raises the risk of hypertension. More HA is present in well-done foods than rarer meats. If you're going to barbecue with rosemary, thyme, garlic, and other spices, make sure they're not contaminated by pesticides in a marinade. Harvard Medical School researchers have found that inflammation. They discovered that elevated levels of an inflammatory marker called C-reactive protein R independently and significantly associated with the development of hypertension in people. To reduce inflammation, go to the link below to get our free anti-inflammatory eating plan. This video is meant to be informative, not therapeutic. We are not doctors, so if you like this video, please share and subscribe. To ensure that you never miss a video, click the bell button now. And now it's time for you to speak. What foods have you discovered that raise your blood pressure? What steps are you taking in order to address the problem? Please leave a remark below.